Today, we'll analyze 3 trade practices. We'll go over extreme detail with trade snapshots. First, we will look into identifying good entry points. Then we will talk about failing imbalances. Finally, I'll teach you a trick that turns very complex trades to much easier ones for lazy traders. Yes, we have so much to do. If you're ready, let's start. Let's talk about this example. Do not mind the coin name. It was one of the top gainers. When I opened this chart in a 15-minute time frame, what did I see? First of all, it was already an uptrending asset. At the top, I have also noticed previous day high. I have instantly seen this nice structure box here, which is pushed by imbalance and internal liquidity sweep. So our basic idea is this protected strong low will hold the buyers and keep pushing upwards and upwards. This obvious large imbalance area was our main POI location to look for trades. See what happens here. An internal structure box. See, it is all fractal, same structures. Then this imbalance area would be a nice entry. If you drop to the 5 minutes time frame, you can see the price action better. Can you make a more precise entry? For this example, not really. This OB plus imbalance area was the perfect entry location. However, you could have used this QML level for a stop loss, which would increase your reward in return. Okay, everything is clear, I hope so. But let's make it even more clear with a snapshot structure. First of all, we had a very nice structured box. Actually a super box powered by imbalance and internal liquidity sweep. Remember, this happens over an uptrending top gainer. Then the price leaves us this previous day high as a target above. Looking for an entry with a low time frame structure shift, as you can see. This is how you make your entry. As you can see when I draw like this, how easy the setup is. But when you look at candlesticks, you just get confused. The only solution for this is daily practice, watching the charts 3-4 hours a day, just like watching a movie. Let's check another great example. Again, a similar structure happens. This time, price heading high from a very low standpoint. It actually all started with this failed imbalance. Remember, a strong trend is pushed by its imbalances and order blocks. If the order blocks and imbalances keep failing, this is a sign of trend weakness. Then the price keeps making new higher highs with new breakout structures, one after another. Keep creating structure boxes for us. If you notice, each structure box keeps protecting the strong lows. Basically, green circles which represent the buyers. Now, as you can see, some structure boxes have a nice imbalance areas for us to look for trades. But some of them are not. Each imbalance and probably the order blocks with imbalances gives us a chance to make entries. Let's try to understand the snapshot. This imbalance fails here. The purpose of an imbalance is to push the price, make a new break, and force the trend to continue. This bearish imbalance fails at its job to push it downwards. Then the buyers take control of the price and keep pushing the price higher and higher. During this powerful momentum, you'll notice some structure boxes will never have imbalances, and never give you an entry chance. It is perfectly normal. This is trading. There are no rule books in trading. Anything can happen or nothing can happen. However, some structure boxes will have nice imbalances for us. We can use them to look for entries. Another thing is when you write a trade to a target, we never have guarantees that it will reach there. I always suggest you take profits along the road. Move your stop to entry and let the remaining position run as much as possible as runner. It's time to talk about a complex example and dissect complexity, but at the same time make it a lazy trader entry. This coin was gaining momentum towards the previous month high. I have directly noticed this perfectly clear structure box right here. Now we know our strong low, but the problem is if you check out here, it also looks like equal lows as well. A dilemma happens here. Now, trading top gainers or top losers reduces these conflicts because you only look at long top gainers or short the top losers. It eases the entry fatigue that most traders encounter. Okay, see this imbalance right here and the order block below it. A perfect entry location with this internal structure box here. And you make this entry. There is nothing wrong with this trade. This is a perfect example of the loss here. If I avoid every entry chance, I would never be able to trade any asset. You must focus on making more money than losing. That's it. Wins or losses do not matter at all. What matters is the end result over 100 trades. What happens afterward? Another nice structure box appears, which is actually a manipulation box, which my masterclass students know. See what happens here. This large bearish imbalance fails. And we have a nice bullish imbalance. So, failed imbalance and working imbalance, which gives us the BPR, balanced price range. Notice how perfectly price reacts to this BPR area here, which also creates microstructure boxes. This would be a perfect entry. Let's analyze this complexity again. We have our main structure box at the very beginning. Very clear and very easy. It also has this very large, nice imbalance area to look for trades. Then we have early traders to long. A perfect loss. There's nothing wrong about this loss. They become the liquidity. Then a new structure box appears. Now this is a manipulation box. How do I know this? Because I know that market makers tricked and manipulated the previous traders. They became the liquidity that market makers need. Inside my manipulation box, I noticed the balanced price range now, which also creates the smaller low time frame structure boxes. Now, this would be the most perfect sniper entry that you can ever make. However, I can hear you. This is too complex for the most part. I do not want to dissect or analyze this complexity. I can feel you. Sometimes markets are very crazy complex. Okay, how a lazy trader can trade this? Where is our main strong low with main structure box? Right here with large green circle. That is the perfect stop loss area. You can easily place this large stop loss with this large trade without any complexity of manipulation boxes or smaller structure boxes inside. However, remember, there is an exchange here. This trade will give you much less reward, and it will probably take much longer time. Okay friends, I hope this video cleared out many questions. Have a great day. See you next week. If you have completed the free trading course and feel like you improved your trading skills, but you need more, an extra, a boost, and you want to move to the next level in your trading life, my masterclass is ready for you. You'll learn liquidity, inefficiencies, and structure mastery deeply. And we will look at forward and reverse trading with momentum super boxes. You will learn how to confirm your entries with magic alignment system. Finally, you'll discover a strategy called YOYO strategy, which will open new doors for you about taking and managing trades. If you are interested, you can find links on my website on the description. Take care friends, manage your risks and stay safe.